Hello, everybody. Welcome to our new series here at Geezerology. We're calling it Freeform Friday. We've actually done a couple of these already, but we just settled on this title this week. So this is the first Freeform Friday, but the third or fourth review that we've actually done. Today, Bob is here. He has just listened to the Carlos Santana album, Blessings and Miracles, which was released on October 15th. So it's been a couple of weeks now. It's 56 minutes in length. This is Santana's 26th studio album by the band Santana. Carlos Santana has released 4 or 5 albums under his name as a solo artist, but this is the 26th by the band Santana. And Bob is here to tell us about it. Take it away, brother.
All righty, Scott, thank you for the intro. Appreciate you setting me up. You've done that many times to me in my life. All right,
Some good, some bad.
yeah. So anyway, before I get into this newest album, I want to backtrack a little bit and kind of do a brief history of my interaction with Carlos Santana's music. And I was a big fan of the classic Santana band, the Woodstock Santana, with Greg Rowley and Neil Schon and all of those people. And really got into their music. And, Santana's appearance at Woodstock launched their career. And if you've seen the movie, you saw that dynamite performance they did. Well, after Greg Rowley and Neil Schon left to go form Journey, my interest in Santana kind of dropped off, especially when he went into his jazz fusion period and he became David Dipp, Carlos Santana. And I just really didn't pay a whole lot of attention to him. And I know that he did some stuff. He's had a long career over the years, but like I say, it just wasn't in my area of interest. Um, he reunited with the original band in 2016 to release the album Santana 4. I listened to it, didn't think the original fire was there, so it really didn't do much to me. At one point, Santana's career really dropped down. He didn't have a recording contract, and his career was resurrected by Clive Davis, who gave him a new recording contract and persuaded Santana to consider recording with other artists, doing compilation albums, mainly younger artists. Santana agreed. That led to 1999's Supernatural album, which has since gone multi-platinum and revitalized Santana's career. That album, was led by the hit single Smooth with Matchbox 20's Rob Thomas. So since then, Santana has done several of these compilation albums where he's recorded with other guest artists. And again, like I say, I didn't really pay a whole lot of attention to them. In full disclosure, I probably would have let this one slide past me had I not heard that Santana was teaming up with Steve Winwood to do a cover version of Procol Harum's Whiter Shade of Pale. And that's a song that I've always loved, and I've liked Steve Winwood even, back with his Traffic days and his solo career. So I was intrigued enough by that when it finally dropped on streaming services, I went in and gave it a listen. And I listened to the song, I liked it, and I decided to go ahead and delve into the entire album, which led me now to the point where I want to talk about it. So, um, excuse me. And sonically, this album is all over the place. And so that, so to me, Blessings and Miracles is a series of mixed blessings, pun intended. Okay. And they have created a buffet of musical genres. And if you dig around in that buffet enough, you're going to find something you like. That's the blessing of uh, Blessings and Miracles. That's also the curse of Blessings and Miracles because it's all over the place. And if you love everything that's on this album, then you have some very eclectic tastes in music. My musical tastes are much more narrowly defined, so some of the album was kind of off-putting and boring to me. I probably loved about half of the album. The rest of it, I could, leave it alone or take it. So he has a wide-ranging list of guest artists. And I mentioned, classic rock artist Steve Winwood, Matchbox 20's Rob Thomas is back. We've got country outlier Chris Stapleton, alt rockers Zach Barnett, and American authors. He's got Latina Christian singer Ali Brooke, songwriter Diane Warren, rapper G-Eazy, Living Colors Corey Glover is on here, Metallica's Kirk Hammett, Mark Osagwega of Death Angel. He does an instrumental with the late jazz pianist Chick Corea. It's also a family affair. We've got his daughter Stella doing vocals on the track. His son Salvador, lends instrumental backing, and Santana's wife Cindy does drums on the album. So as I said, we've got a mixture of musical styles and genres here. There are 15 tracks. The album runs nearly 56 minutes, but 6 of those tracks are instrumentals, which if you are familiar with Carlos Santana, you know that that's going to be a trademark of anything he does. And there's no denying Carlos Santana is an incredible guitarist. Rolling Stone lists him as, I think, either 15 or 20 on their top 100 greatest guitarists of all time. So he is recognized for his guitar virtuosity. That shines in a lot of the instrumentals. The album kicks off with a short instrumental called Ghost of Future Pull, and that is an intro and outro to the album, so it's a bookend for it. Track number 2 is called Santana Celebration. This is an instrumental jam that is so reminiscent of the early days of Santana. It's got the virtuoso guitar work, the Latin rhythms. It really sounds like classic Santana. Rumbolero is an electronic dance track. It's featuring Salvador Santana, his son, on it. The first song to feature any vocals is called Joy, and it's a blues reggae number with country superstar Chris Stapleton doing vocals. Surprisingly, this works. Stapleton is actually able to meld that voice into Santana's blues reggae work. Track number 5, Move, is a dance pop number. It features Matchbox 20's Rob Thomas. It is very reminiscent of the hit Smooth from Supernatural. It's kind of derivative, in my opinion. They were obviously trying to recreate that magic from back then. In fact, this is the first single to come off of the album. Whiter Shade of Pale, Winwood and Santana managed to breathe some new life into that old classic. Winwood does a great job with the vocals. Santana turns it into kind of a little bit of a Latin groove type thing. So it's a nice take on an old classic song. Break Free really gets into Santana's spiritual side. It's almost like a prayer. Features vocals from, as I said, the Christian Latina artist Ali Brooke. She's Fire is a hip hop / rap number. Has a spoken rap section in the very middle of it, and it's got rapper G-Eazy on it. Then Santana switches gears and he gets into the stuff that I really like. And we have a section that deals with some good classic hard rock stuff. This is my wheelhouse. This is what I really like. We've got a powerful revolutionary song called Peace Power featuring Corey Glover, who changes Peace Power a lot of places to Black Power. Very powerful rocking song. Heavy metal comes in with the song America for Sale, a blistering attack on corporate America, featuring Metallica's Kirk Hammett and Mark Osagwega on vocals. Then we kind of switch gears going to a soulful ballad called Breathing Underwater with vocals by Stella Santana, Santana's daughter. On the track Mother Yes, another good hard rocking tune, and it feels like the spirit of Jimi Hendrix occupied every musician in the studio when they did this number. Vocals are done by Santana band member Tommy Anthony. Just rocks the house out. Then the album closes out with three more instrumentals. Song for Cindy is an ode that Santana did to his wife, Cindy. Angel Choir is a jazz fusion type thing featuring the late jazz pianist Chick Corea and also Corea's wife, Gail. And then the album closes out again with the instrumental outro, Ghost of Future, which is about a minute and 20 seconds. So I really, really liked the harder rocking numbers. I liked their cover of Whiter Shade of Pale. Chris Stapleton's number I thought was good. The rap hip hop stuff left me really cold. The ballads weren't bad, but again, not something that I would normally adhere to. And I'm not an instrumentalist. I get bored real quickly with instrumental songs. It's just me. I'm weird, okay? I recognize Santana's guitar capabilities. The instrumentals are well done, just not something that necessarily greatly appeals to me. So I started thinking about what this album would have done to me back in the old days when everything that we bought was physical. And if I would have bought this as a vinyl album or a CD, based on, hey, they did Whiter Shade of Pale, I'm going to go buy this album, I'd have been disappointed. I would have felt like I spent money for a lot of stuff that I didn't want to listen to. So it would have gone on my turntable and the tone arm would have dropped on cut number 4, and that's where I would have started. And I would have skipped a lot of it on there. With it being on streaming, it's really easy for me to cherry pick the songs that I like. And there's stuff on here that I like well enough that I'm going to go back to it and listen to it more on streaming services. But as I said earlier, it's a mixed blessing because you're going to find something here you like. You may not like all of it. But, this thing of Santana mixing it up with other artists has really revitalized his career. So Carlos Santana has had an incredible career as a musician, even though he can't sing. So that is what my opinion. That's my opinion of the album, folks. So for what it's worth, thank you for listening, and I hope you maybe glean something out of this.
Thanks, Bob. So I get from that this is more of this is a great album to pick out some songs for your playlist, but not necessarily an album that as a whole that you listen to as a whole, right?
No,
And from what you're telling me, and this probably goes for everybody because it's so all over the place with different styles that everybody who listens to it is going to have their favorite tracks and their least favorite tracks, no matter which one they are, whether they're yours favorite tracks and least favorite tracks or not, right?
that's my opinion for what it's
Yeah.
worth. The album has received good praise, but it's also been ripped, and a lot of it falls along the same lines. There's if there's an overlying theme because Carlos Santana is a very spiritual person. So a lot of the songs on here, have a spiritual bent to them. His instrumentals kind of reflect that spiritual joy, but we also delve into some very topical stuff, the political songs. So that is kind of an overarching theme of the spirituality. But as far as musical styles, it's all over the place, which is what you're going to get when you have all of these different guest artists. And they're all shoehorned into what they do best. Okay. Like Metallica. Yeah, it sounds like a Metallica song, when Kirk Hammett's on there. And so that's my big problem with it. Back in the early days of Santana, they were a band, and they worked as a band, and eventually, they fell apart because some of them wanted to go in different musical directions, but they did a cohesive thing. And this is literally a bunch of guest artists coming on working with Carlos Santana. And yeah, Carlos Santana is a superstar. And, if I was a musician, would I want to go record with him? Absolutely. But I think, that's what's good about it and what's bad about it at the same time.
Got it. Got it. Okay. So a mixed review, and that seems to be what it's getting from all the professional critics. Some like it, some don't. Um, anyway, check it out. Like Bob said, there might be something on there that you really like, and you can pull some good stuff off and put it in your playlist. So, well, okay. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. We appreciate you coming by. Drop a comment. Let us know what you think of this album. We'd love to hear from you. And join us. We'll be back on Sunday with another episode of Geezerology Gazette. So long, everybody.
All right. Thank you for listening.